Now, a surging student population without a corresponding increase in accommodation units has made accommodation for students a key concern for parents and guardians. As Edwin Austin reports, institutions of higher learning are now partnering with developers who have taken interest in the concept of student housing in an effort to bridge this gap.
Over 500,000 students were admitted to universities in Kenya last year. With the rising student population, accommodating university students is now a headache for policymakers, parents, and the students.
We have to acknowledge as a university that there is a huge shortage of the accommodation being at the city center. Right now we have 50,000 students and we can only manage to keep 10,000 students.
The existing significant strain on on-campus accommodation has seen students either resort to illegally sharing of rooms in halls of residence or illegal subletting.
For students who cannot afford to rent outside the school and they have not gotten hostels, what they end up doing is either just pirating in the hostels, basically staying in the hostels illegally because they have no choice.
You are not allowed to accommodate or allow somebody to stay in your room illegally. One is because it is very difficult to account for such a person in case of any problem. Two, it is also not good because of the security of the students.
For others like Zipporah, when piracy was not an option and hostel prices outweighed her financial muscle, she opted for nearby neighborhoods.
Being in rental, it's a bit, it's not expensive at all because you are going to choose the house that you want with the amount of money that you want. In hostels, it's a bit expensive.
For you to actually have a close bond with your friends, it has to be in you spending more time with them, like, you know, the guys who are in hostel. But if you're someone who commutes from home to school, that means you will have a distant relationship, not as close as those who are in hostel.
Owing to their naivety and novelty, first-year students are accorded priority during room allocation.
More than 30% of the bookings we had on our platform are from international students. That is students from Nigeria, DRC, Tanzania, Uganda, and South Sudan coming to study in Kenya. If a student from Kakamega can have a challenge finding accommodation in Nairobi, it won't be any easier for a student from Kinshasa.
What we have is not a lack of student accommodation, but rather a lack of adequate student accommodation. This is a situation that has been fueled by the soaring numbers of students matriculating at various institutions of higher learning due to the reduction of entry points to colleges and universities and the need for people to diversify their skill sets during these hard economic times. To address the student housing shortage, institutions of higher learning are partnering with various investors to tailor purpose-built student accommodation.
There is a need for purpose-built student accommodation in Kenya and in Africa as a whole. As Kwetu, our goal is to try and focus and plan more and more accommodations to cover this gap.
Most of these facilities range from fully furnished studios to flats, with a cluster of up to 8 rooms sharing living quarters. For years, a great number of real estate developers have targeted the working class individuals, but it's now evident that student housing is a niche to reckon with. Bringing to life more purpose-built student accommodation will surely checkmate this student housing crisis. Reporting for Channel One here in Nairobi, Kenya, my name is Edwin Austin.